Joining us right now on the Harbor One hotline, it is the co-owner of the Boston Celtics, Wyc Grousbeck. Wyc, good morning.
Yo, man, what's going on?
How you doing?
I'm all fired up. I'm like, I can't wait. I heard it was starting at 7:30, but not 7:30 a.m., unfortunately. It's 7:30 tonight.
Now, listen, I know sometimes you put up with various requests from individuals on this program. Can you get Wiggy the jersey, or can we just take care of that?
Yeah, I've already ordered it. Wiggy, good news. It's going to be the right size. Even better news, it's going to say Grousbeck on the back. Hope that's okay.
Works for me. I'll add it to the collection. Every time I go by the pro shop, I wanted to grab one of those shiny bird jerseys.
Oh, here we go.
They have like a silver bird jersey in there, which is pretty
phone
fire.
call for Wyc. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Listen, I'll take it. I'll pay. I don't care. Just need a 2X.
Wyc, I had read, I think, that Bill Russell, before he passed, had a hand in designing these jerseys. Is that right?
Well, I think it's all inspired by Bill. I didn't read that, but I hope that is true. But it's inspired by the script of a bar and restaurant he used to own, Slade's. That's sort of the script that we use for the Celtics. There's 11 diamonds for his 11 championships. There's a 6 on the sort of buckle of the shorts. Who knew shorts had a buckle, but they do. But it's inspired A to Z by Bill, and this was before he passed. This has been in the works for actually over a year with Nike. This particular one, and then to be able to use it tonight, really in his honor, just makes a lot of sense, and it feels like the right thing to do.
Honestly, they're fire.
They're amazing.
I love them. So, obviously for you guys, some difficult parts of the off season, and I wanted to get from your perspective, how when it comes to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus and I guess this whole entire team, how they have adjusted heading into tonight when it comes to what they dealt with off season wise.
Yeah, I've been at a bunch of training camp and the practices, but I've talked to literally everybody on the roster, I think, face to face about moving forward, but letting them, obviously, out of the respect that I have for all of them, deal with it in their own way and say whatever they, of course, want and do whatever they feel is right. And what I'm seeing, instead of requesting, but what I'm seeing is that they're energized, they're focused, they're pulled together, they're moving forward. It's not to say it's all forgotten or it's all just, nothing. It's a big deal. And lots of people impacted. But I really do think the players have a lot of focus this year on doing the right thing on the court and showing people what the Celtics are all about. I mean, I think they're really frustrated, like I am, that we got 2 steps from the top of the mountain, and then we fell off the thing, and we were leading the finals, and then we lost the finals, and part of that story is okay, and part of the story isn't, and I think they're all ready to go.
Wyc, when it comes to Joe Mazzulla, a guy that we don't know much about, we've heard a few press conferences from him, but I think collectively on this show, we thought the best part about Ime was how much the players could relate to him, how he was able to handle maybe egos in the locker room. What have you seen out of Mazzulla, and how has he been able to kind of take on this big role unexpectedly?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point you made about relating to him, relating to Ime, and I think that there's a lot of relationship as well, very naturally, with Joe. Joe is he's a point guard out of West Virginia. He's really tough. It's the first word that comes to mind, but focused, driven, super smart. I mean, he's got nuclear energy in there. He's almost like, I don't know why I would say that's a mini KG. He's not a mini KG. He's like very different from KG in a lot of ways, but just the intensity of the eyes. That's just all I'm really thinking of right now. He's not a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but he's got intensity. And for being a small size guy, point guard, sort of assistant, never been a head coach in the NBA. Now he's interim head coach of the Celtics. It's a big ask for a 34-year-old. Except then you meet Joe Mazzulla and you're like, all right, actually this could really work. I've heard nothing but raves about him since over the last few years, from Danny while he was here, and from Brad, and from Ime. And I prevented Danny from stealing him this summer because I told Danny I'd fly to Utah and personally strangle him if he did. That's actually, you can quote that, but you can take one person, an assistant, and make them a head coach, and they did with Will Hardy, and then they also wanted Mazzulla. I'm like, that's it, you're crossing the line, and we're not having it. So and that was, just for Joe to be a senior assistant with us, and then now all of a sudden he's interim head coach. But we believe in him, and I think the players believe in him for sure.
Well, Wyc, you talk about Slades. If you ever get a chance to get there on Tremont, get there. Wings, chicken wings, spectacular. you talk about
I can't say I've ever been there, but I'll bear it in mind.
Right.
Wiggy's been telling me forever to go there because he loves the wings there. Yeah, absolutely loves the wings.
Let's set it up.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do a dinner with some listeners, and we'll have some Cincoro tequila over there. We'll do it.
We'll
go, man.
We'll definitely do it. Now, you talk about being 2 games away and being in a position where you're favored to get back there and be right in it again. When you look at this season and what the expectations are the expectations for this team now get there and win the whole thing?
Well, probably everybody who listens to this who has heard me on it before, and thanks for having me on, probably knows I'm, deep down, I'm like, this could be the year. I mean, I look at things realistically, I think, but I also look at them with a lot of enthusiasm. I love being part of the Celtics, and but anyway, this year is, to the surprise of nobody, I think we have a real chance. We are contenders. I think it's too bad that Rob Williams is out for a while. It's too bad that Gallo is out possibly or probably for the season. So, that's knocked us back a little bit, but we're playing the Sixers tonight, and this could be the start of something. We'll see.
I felt like obviously difficult for a player when his name comes up, with regard to a trade, but I feel like Jaylen Brown handled that really, really well. Was that something internally that you guys paid close attention to with regard to kind of dealing with him on that?
Well, that I don't usually talk about trade stuff or rumors that often agents put in the paper or whatever, but there's lots of people that type lots of things on keyboards that for various reasons. And some of it's true and some of it isn't. But that was never going anywhere. I mean, that was like never going anywhere. It was not even close. Nothing. So we're good with Jaylen and just been having great talks with him all fall, including me seeing him and just hanging out a little bit, around the side of the practice court and sitting at the event that we had last week, our charity event. We had 820 people over at the Wynn, the Encore, and we raised $3 million for the Shamrock Foundation. So both of those are records, and the whole
amazing.
team was there and all. So anyway, the guys are just amazing. They're in good shape, but we'll see. We got a lot to do, but Jaylen is really fired up, really pumped, and really seems like he's poised to have a great year.
Wyc, you brought up some of the names like Rob Williams and Gallinari. If you find yourself back in a position which we all expect you to be back in the hunt, contending, is there no expense that you're willing to spare maybe mid-season to add to this team to get them over the hump? You see what Golden State has done with Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, and as far as the money situation going over the luxury tax. Is that something that you guys think about if we're in that mix to, do whatever it takes mid-season, if that means even spending more than we might want to?
Yeah, I can't remember how far we're in the tax. I do know we're going to pay, I don't know, $230 or something, $230 million in salary this year. We're way over the tax as it is, and what's the difference?
Answer. That's a great answer.
Wyc,
That's what I'm talking about.
I felt like if anybody had any concern about this team, all they had to do was read that Sports Illustrated article. I thought that it it painted this amazing picture for the team. And whether it was Al Horford, who just you could tell is such a leader for all of them, or Jaylen and Jason talking about how they still are thinking about the loss in the finals, or even Marcus talking about Malcolm Brogdon coming in. I thought that from top to bottom, they painted a really good picture for this team. Were you a part of that, and how does that go down? What are the behind the scenes of Sports Illustrated coming to you guys during a really difficult time and getting you on board to do something like that?
Yeah, I was not part of that, or I'd be extensively quoted all over the place because I'm so quotable. But I was not personally part of that article. But we love SI actually. And there's been so much media, so many requests. Since you're in the finals, we're opening the whole season tonight at home. We're the first NBA game of the whole season. Then we're hoping to be the last NBA game of the whole season, by the way, in June. Let's see. You can write that down. But I wasn't personally part of that. But, the media has been all over the place. And I took a picture of the media list for one of the finals games. I think there were 450 credentials on it or something like that. It's just insane how many people were around. So they've been around all the time, but SI did a really good job as always.
Hey, Wyc, if you get a chance, maybe buy the Red Sox. Love that approach with the tax, but that's not the question. Would love to understand the thought process, because I think, like a lot of other people that follow the Celtics, the second I heard the news, I thought, oh, Brad Stevens will be the head coach. Was that ever something that you and Brad discussed? And how is this sort of tumultuous offseason forced you and Brad to get closer together?
Yeah. Good question. Well, I think in that press conference, Brad was like, that was never an option. I'm like, well, Brad, it was briefly an option. I think I said something like that because we did have a brief conversation. He's like, no, not only doesn't it doesn't feel right necessarily for me, but Mazzulla is the guy. I just said to another interviewer yesterday, it'll probably come out in the next day or two in print, that over the, 5 24/7 all-nighter kind of nights and days that we had in September when everything was happening that ended up with the suspension, the one constant from almost the beginning was if there's going to be a coaching change, it's going to be Joe Mazzulla. So that's a lot of confidence that Brad had. That's not a call that I would have made. I knew Joe, and I interview coaches and, make the final decision with some other people, but really make the final decision to hire them or not. But in this case, this was Brad saying, we got the guy. So let's worry about this situation with our current coach. But if we need to, we've got the guy, and it's Joe Mazzulla. So we had a brief conversation about it because I naturally thought Brad should be in the mix. As an emergency replacement, out of the bullpen. And he was very confident on Joe. And the more I've seen Joe in training camp, the more I agree.
All right, couple things before you go. Is it accurate that NBC has purchased a sitcom that you created, and that will air? It is. It's on Google, so it must be true. Yeah, with Amelia, my unbelievable wife, and unbelievable in the most positive way, and then with her ex George, who is a really good guy. We all get along, and he's from Needham and went to BC. He's a local guy. But it's sort of like how the three of us kind of switch in and out of an apartment, and the kids stay put. It's called nesting after an amicable divorce and all that, but I show up later and I'm a team owner and he's the biggest Boston sports fan on the planet, which he is. And it's sort of naturally somewhat funny, especially since he's always teasing me and getting the better of me because I'm sort of like this Boy Scoutish type, and he's like a prankster. So we have a really good time in real life. Yeah. And we turned out, we just cast some actors like John Cryer out of 2.5 Men and Donald Faison out of Scrubs. Donald Faison from Scrubs, who was Turk on Scrubs, who's hilarious, is going to be the Boston Celtics owner in this sitcom. And it's going to be on NBC next fall.
Wow.
And it's called Nesting?
It could be called Nesting, except we wanted to have a funny title here, man. So it refers to divorce, and it's called We Thought We Were Done.
Wow. Well, Wyc, it's actually pretty amazing because Greg has a show about him. It's called 2.5 Men.
That's awesome. That's great. And what about the band? Is the band playing? Are you guys playing around this month?
Yeah, the band, just to squeeze in a little more activity. We opened for Bare Naked Ladies 2 weeks ago at a charity event. We usually play sort of charity shows when people will hire a headliner and then they ask us to actually entertain the people. Because we're a dance band and we had a lot of fun playing classic rock. So, we opened for Bare Naked Ladies a couple weeks ago, and we're playing next week at the Western Waterfront for Mass Ioneer for like 700 people. So we're having a blast.
That's awesome.
It's the coolest guy of all time.
Yes,
Donald
yes,
Faison, good
100%,
actor too.
Yeah.
A lot of people remember him from Clueless. He was Stacey
Ah,
Dass's
yes.
boyfriend.
Yes.
If you don't remember Scrubs.
All right. Wyc.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We got to make 12 more episodes with them out in Hollywood between now and next August. So it's going to be great.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time this morning, as always. You're really, really, really good to this program. We appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you tonight, and let's get it going.
And it's Slates. All right, see you tonight, and thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me on.